Sziasztok, ez az Utahoki Podcast jubileumi 10. adása, az én nevem Freddy, és itt van még Bence.
Sziasztok!
Ez az adás angolul fog zajlani, ez a rövid intro után, mert beszélgettünk a 12-es számú játékosunkkal, Kis Phillel, vagy hát ahogy igazából hívják, Phil Kissel. Beszéltünk vele nagyon sok mindenről, rengeteg új infót megtudtunk, nem tudom, Bence, te is így érzed el, hogy teljes siker volt végül is?
Abszolút. Hát nem nagyon találtunk vele eddig interjút, de hát akkor, ha nincs interjú, akkor meg megcsináljuk.
Pontosan. Viszont hát nem tud magyarul, úgyhogy mi angolul beszélgettünk vele, úgyhogy az egész további podcast az angolul lesz, de aki esetleg nem tud angolul, annak készültünk egy magyar összefoglalóval, tehát lesz erről egy írásos összefoglaló, úgy lesz felépítve, mint egy interjú, de nem szóról szóra lesz lefordítva, mert az ami irtudatos meró lenne, de azért nagyban összefoglaltuk a mondandóját, úgyhogy ezt megtaláljátok a leírásban, vagy az oldalon. Bence, mi a webcím?
újpestijégkorong.nhely.hu, de a leírásban ott lesz a link.
Így van.
Mint egy írásos interjú, úgy fogjátok megtalálni. A lényeg abban is benne lesz valóban. Hát mi ezt a beköszönést, ezt már később vesszük föl, tehát már tudjuk, hogy mi lesz az interjúban, de azt ígéretjük, hogy egy tartalmas beszélgetésen vagyunk túl Kis Phillel, szóval.
Így van. Nagyon jó fej volt, úgyhogy aki esetleg tud angolul, annak most nagyon sok szórakozást kívánunk hozzá, akinek problémái vannak vele, akkor megtalálja a rendkívül informatív összefoglalónkat, úgyhogy nem is húzok tovább az időt, jó szórakozást a podcasthez. Sziasztok!
Sziasztok!
Hello everybody, this is the Utahoki Podcast, the 10th episode of this, and we thought about, okay, let's do it. This some real special occasion, and we will have a guest today, apart from the other host, Bence.
Hi there.
And we have a special guest, our beloved defenseman with the number 12, it's Phil Kiss.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be here and talk to you guys for sure.
Is it usual that some people still say Phil Kiss to you and not Kish Phil, like we always say?
Yeah, I mean, definitely not while I'm in Hungary, but back home it's kind of the easier thing to say is Kiss, rather than explaining the last name to every single person I meet.
Yeah.
I guess from when I was in Canada or living in Canada and growing up in North America, it's a very uncommon last name, so it's pretty popular back home with everyone. But then when you come here, it's such a similar common last name that it's not very special. So I kind of feel a little bit more at home with my last name here than I do back home.
Yeah, you already answered one of our questions, like how it is, because just we saw a picture that the three Kish players are next to each other in the locker room. Is that on purpose, or is it like that?
I don't know. We don't really have a say in where we sit in the locker room. We kind of just show up and our names are there, but I'm sure Mr. Atiba kind of planned it that way, but I don't know. It might make it a little bit more confusing for him, but it's been all right so far.
Yeah, and congratulations for the fireman hat. Helmet.
Oh yes, thank you. Yeah, first time this year. I mean, could have went to a number of players, but glad it got recognized that way for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 2 goals in one game. From the first one, we didn't see anything from the stands, but we were happy that you guys are celebrating. So also we are celebrating because it was not so easy to spot, but 2 goals. Last time you had something like this, 2 goals in one game?
Oh, man, I don't know. maybe in junior hockey when I was, a lot younger. Actually in college I had a few 2-3 goal games, but yeah, not in a very long time. So it was good to do that for sure. Yeah.
Okay. It was 2 goals and plus 4 for you in the last game. So it's a very great statistics.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it was a good game by everyone, but it's nice to see that on the score sheet afterwards as well, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we thought about a lot of questions, not only hockey related, but also we are thinking about questions. What could we ask you? And the first thing that came into our mind, like when you signed to Újpest and came to the Hungarian league, first of all, the news was that you are Canadian but also with a Hungarian citizenship. So can you please tell us what's the backstory of this? How come you have a Hungarian citizenship? What's the Hungarian backstory in your family?
Yeah, so both my parents' families are actually Hungarian. My mom was born here, but my grandfather, her, and the other two siblings, they left in '56 during the revolution. Yeah. There's actually a pretty big Hungarian community in the town over from me in Canada, so they went there, and a couple of my aunts and uncles were already there, so they settled down with them, and then life kind of started there. And my dad's side of the family, I believe his mother was born in Croatia, but they were also Hungarian. So yeah, basically my entire family is somewhat Hungarian. My mom's last name is Fulop, and my dad's obviously is Kish. But yeah, I'd say if I wasn't Canadian, I'd definitely be Hungarian. So that's kind of that's where it came from. And when I was in college, I had a message from actually Debrecen my second year in college, asking if I wanted to come over and play professional hockey. And I really had no idea what that was all about. And they kind of explained to me that your last name's Kish, like I'm sure you could get your Hungarian passport and not be considered an import player. So I kind of talked to my parents about that, and my mom was like, yeah, I was born there, your grandfather was born there, the family was born there. We have all our papers, birth certificates, death certificates, everything that you could think of. So it kind of just went from there. It was a little bit of a process, trying to get all the paperwork done. But luckily, my mom and my dad both speak fluent Hungarian. So they were able to fill out all the paperwork and everything necessary for me to get my documents into the Hungarian consulate in Toronto. And it kind of just went from there. I talked to a bunch of teams over here in the Erste League. And Újpest just seemed like a spot that was the right fit at the right time. And I got my Hungarian passport, and the rest is history. I've been here 4 years now, So basically, we can thank Debrecen that you got your citizenship. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't remember who it was that contacted me from there, but they definitely had ties to Debrecen, the team.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
Okay, so first Debrecen contacted you, and then Újpest signed you.
Yeah, so Debrecen contacted me 2 years prior to me actually coming over here.
Wow.
Nice.
This is some breakthrough information, people. Like, we had no idea about this.
Yeah.
Crazy. And so you had to do a citizenship test, or did you just get it automatically?
No, nothing. Everything... I guess my ties to, Hungary were pretty significant with my mom being born there, and, my grandparents and my father and the rest of my family. So it was kind of just, get the documents in and hope for the best, really.
Wow, that's some crazy backstory. I never thought it would be like this, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's some guys in this league where, they don't really have any Hungarian ties.
Yeah, a lot of them.
And they got their passports and stuff like that. But, in my case, it's actually, true Hungarian ties, except I can't speak the language.
And do you understand some words in Hungarian?
I do, yeah. I'm a lot better than I was, 3.5, 4 years ago. But back home, my parents speak it quite often with my grandpa, and when my other grandparents were alive. Whenever we'd have family over, it would be full on Hungarian conversations, and so I kind of picked up a little bit from there. I know more, food talk than I do conversational talk for sure. But yeah, it's better. My mom, back home when I go home, my mom mainly cooks Hungarian dishes. So when I come here, it's no different. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
And have you been ever to Hungary before signing here, or?
No, it was my first time, so it was a little bit of a culture experience for me for sure. I know, there's some players after college or university or whatever, they want to sign over in Europe and experience travel and experience different cultures, and then a year later they're done hockey. But for me, it's been great. I never expected myself to be here 4 years later after my first contract, and call this a second home, really. So
right into the deep water.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and did you know anyone? I mean, coach, player, anybody from the Hungarian hockey culture before you got here?
I only knew one person. He actually went to college with me. I'm not sure if you would know him, Zoltán Eres. No. He used to play junior here, and he played for the national team a bit. But yeah, he just randomly showed up to my college one day on an official visit, checking out the school and stuff like that, maybe wanting to go there. And we started talking, and he ended up being Hungarian, and he told me about the league, and that's kind of where my information came from. And he kind of helped me contact some teams over here as well, and talk to some teams. And yeah, I owe a lot to that guy for getting me in contact with a bunch of stuff. So I still talk to him today, and a good friend of mine. So.
And if I understand correctly, your family is living in Canada?
Yeah, they're there. They're actually coming to visit me next week. So, yeah, it's the first time since this COVID stuff happened. But they love to travel, and I think it's been on their list of priorities for a year and a bit now, because I didn't go home last summer, so they haven't seen me for a while. So it's going to be nice for sure.
And are they also checking the games and galleries and everything?
Yeah, for sure. Every game they're watching at home, they hook it up to the big screen. And,
awesome.
Usually it's at a time in the afternoon where other families around, so they all watch the game. And my dad always messages me after the game and talking about it. So yeah. Very, very into it. And, last year, even during the playoffs, my dad had sent me pictures of him wearing the Újpest jersey. So they were cheering all the way.
Awesome.
For sure.
Okay, so I think, Bence, we can make them a little more proud. So let's stop the questions and just say, I guess they are listening this as well. First of all, hi. Let's discuss what we value in Phil that much, because I think previously in the podcasts, I guess, which you couldn't listen, but maybe they did, we already discussed the team, the players one by one, especially when re-signing and new signings and so on. What we really like in you, Phil, is first of all, you are such a solid defenseman because you don't get many penalty minutes. You do not make any big circus on the ice, like searching for trouble or anything. But you are doing such a good defensive job with cleaning the puck and not doing any risky stuff, and you don't really have injuries too much, and it's whenever you are on the ice, you are not, I don't know, it might not sound the best what I say, but I mean it the best, that you are not such a diva, someone who's doing a big show, but because of this, we just see that you are doing such a good defensive job in just keeping everybody away, and it's really it's a pleasure seeing you there, because you are a really good team player. We always say that, and you are loyal and
reliable. I think
reliable.
That's the best word.
Yeah, that's the best word. Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I mean, I might not be, the fanciest player or, put up the most points, but I'm not, really looking for that. I think, I think I do my job to a pretty good extent of what I'm supposed to be doing, and I do whatever I can for the team, and it's definitely a team first mentality for me. And whatever they need me to do, I'm willing to do, and that's my job. So I'll show up whenever I can, and do the best I can for sure. And definitely appreciate those words from you guys.
Yeah, I think you are not scoring too many points, but these points are really
important.
Yeah, important.
You do the important goals. Like you always do the last ones, the first ones, and the really, really special ones, like the one against Debrecen in the playoffs last season.
Last season, yeah.
Yeah. That was a good one. I mean, unfortunately, that series went the way it did, but it might not have showed in the results, but I think, the boys wanted to win for sure. And I think we have something to prove this year for that as well. So
That was your most memorable moment in Újpest until now?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think it was back-to-back games where, it was the double overtime win. And then the next game, I tied it up with about a minute to go. To try and give us a chance. Unfortunately, it went the other way in overtime. But yeah, I think those are definitely the two memorable moments for myself personally, for sure. Yeah, with those two goals. But
yeah, we hardly see you with emotion on the ice. You are like a king of cool, like, I don't know, Steve McQueen. But when you score, then we see you explode, and it's such a contrast to see you, and it's really awesome, because we also like that you take the shots from the blue line. Not everybody is doing that. And you keep doing it and trying, and sometimes it's rewarded. The last two goals you scored were rather close to the goal, so it's also kind of unusual.
Yeah, those were. Yeah, I mean, I think it was 14, 13 games into the season. I think it was about time I put one in the net. So I was kind of just looking to get the little monkey off my back, and, finally put one home. But yeah, I mean, I just like to keep it simple out there, and nothing too fancy, and just do my job, put my head down, and go to work. Really.
I think in this year the whole team's following that way. Keep it simple.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, the coaches have done a really good job in putting that into our team's philosophy of just keeping it simple and playing the right way, and playing as a team rather than individuals. And we got a good group of guys that have bought into that system, and so far it's so good, and hopefully it keeps going that way.
And how do you call the coaches during the training or matches? Coach or Csaba?
Yeah, I mean, either or. I call them both coach, or Chubby, or Zsolt, or Zsolti's a great guy too, and we have a lot of fun with him. But yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, I usually say coach, but guys say their first names as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back a bit again to your transfer. Can you give us some insight of how your transfer to Újpest took place? So, as far as I heard previously, so different Erste Liga groups already had you on the radar, and then Újpest was one of them, or did someone specifically from the team contact you and say, come on, you have a second citizenship, that's awesome, because you do not take a place for a foreign player, and how did it went along? Why did you take Újpest? Was it because of the purple color from like in Curry College?
Yeah. So like I said, when I was nearing the end of my my college days and the season had finished, and I was thinking of what to do next, and I had some opportunities to play in North America right after the season, but unfortunately I had some injury problems, a fractured rib. I was just coming back from, and I didn't think it was the right time to go over there, and I hadn't been on the ice in a couple weeks. So like I mentioned before with my friend Zoli, he helped me put together a couple emails to the teams in the Erste League, because he knew a bunch of the coaches and people that were in the organization. So I got a bunch of emails from him, and I kind of put together my story, where I was playing and all this and that, and I mentioned that I have Hungarian roots and I'm able to get my Hungarian citizenship. And then I just sent the emails and I just waited for responses, and I got quite a few back, and I talked to a few teams, and Újpest was one of the teams that reached back to me saying, let's talk some more and maybe we can make this work. And yeah, it just went from there, and we agreed upon a deal, and I was able to come over here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And did you have some doubts? Maybe Hungarian hockey, I mean, it's not like the most attractive thing for a hockey player, I believe, but did you see it like some big adventure because of the Hungarian background, or did you just went along and didn't really think of it as a long term?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, before I knew anything about, I didn't know anything about Hungarian hockey before, I was approached that second year of college about my passport and stuff. So kind of from there, I looked into it a little bit deeper. There definitely are better leagues. I mean, I could have played in North America and, been closer to home, but I think coming over to Europe is not only, it's good hockey and professional hockey and, living a European lifestyle, but it's a great experience, get to experience all the cultures and meet new people and, kind of if you want to go somewhere else in Europe to play, you can kind of get your foot in the door, that was another option. But, now this is my fourth year, so I've loved it here and enjoyed the experience so much that I've wanted to stay. So, that's kind of just how it went. I mean, nothing really too special. I know my parents were really excited because they hadn't been back to Hungary in how many years, but it was definitely an experience for them as well to be able to come visit every year, and I know they're definitely excited to come visit next week as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you played 4 seasons in the also purple-colored Curry College in the NCAA third division before coming to Hungary. And what's the big differences between the Erste League and the North American hockey leagues? I mean, in general.
Well, so in general, I mean, the NCAA, I mean, one of the main differences is the ice surface. Here you play on Olympic surface for most of the time. There, the rink's a lot smaller. It's an NHL regulation, or even smaller than that. But also, I think over there, it's a lot more physical. That might also be because the rink's a lot smaller, so you can run into each other a lot more. But I think just in general, from Division III college hockey to coming to this league, is just the speed and the smarts of the game. There's a lot smarter players with a lot more experience over here in professional hockey. So I think that might be the biggest jump from college to pro is the speed and the smarts and the brains of the game, really. So yeah.
And when you came here, was there somebody in particular that helped you in integration, like from the team or the players, or did you just figure it out by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the guys on the team were great when I came. It was quite a long time ago now, so I'm trying to remember. Yeah, there was a couple
Nilan
guys.
was there, who was from North America, Lloyd Nilan.
I think I remember Stefan was here.
Oh,
Yeah, so me and him hung out quite a bit. But there was also the other imports, Hebar, Huba, Siki, Karl Chani, Sheila, Alice Sheila. They were all here, and we all hung out together quite a bit, and it was great, and they were really good guys. So, I was the younger one of all of them too, actually. So they kind of brought me in, and they were all friends before, so they kind of brought me into their circle, and that was really nice. But I think apart from them, Hungarian guys, that's actually helped me out a lot is Attila Kovac. He's been one guy who's helped me even with dealing with outside of hockey stuff, apartment stuff and stuff like that. So yeah, he's been a great guy and good guy to know around Budapest for sure.
Yeah, and he still is, unlike the other guys you previously mentioned. They retired pretty much almost everybody except for Karol. Sila was legendary. He absolutely the number one goalie for me. He was such a legend.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. I loved playing with him. It was great.
Yeah, and these players, not like every foreign players in Hungary, but they played many years for Újpest, and it's unlikely here. So we really liked them. So it's good to hear they helped you a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I know they really enjoyed their time here too. I actually lived with Mr. Hebar my first year I was here, so we got to know each other quite a bit. So that was a lot of funny times with that guy for sure.
Yeah. And has the management ever asked you for some recommendation where they were looking for a new foreign player? I mean, it's quite common for that to happen. Actually, I know. The management has asked and got opinions on a bunch of players from a bunch of the North American guys. So, we hockey is a really small world, right? So, coming from North America, it's more or less that you're going to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. So you can get a lot of, I think for the coaches, it's smart, you can get a lot of information from a player on another player. So, rather than going through an agent or something like that. And if I know well, Csaba studied also in North America for a few months or years, I don't know. So maybe that's why we are all of our foreign players are from North America.
Yeah,
now.
In the past it's been from all over, but this year it's kind of the collective from North America, which is great. I get to meet new people or meet people who know people, and it's kind of funny that like I said, it's a small world in hockey, so you get a bunch of stories from everyone, right?
I'm really interested in this because maybe it's just in my head that something like this would pop up, but I'm interested. Is there any mistake or situation which you had on the ice is haunting you? Like, for example, I don't know if I should be bringing this up. Maybe you remember this goal. Like last season, for example, there was this Gyergyó player who did some really clever trick behind the goal.
Right, yeah.
Where you were next to him, and sorry to say, but he fooled you, and he also fooled the. I think Levente was also in the goal.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And how is it going on in like this? Like, for example, if you are now in a situation like this once again with a player, does this pop up in your mind like, oh shit, there was this situation, maybe this guy will try the same thing and I will have to look out for that? Or you just need to do not make yourself crazy and just you follow your instincts?
Yeah, I mean, now I guess nowadays where guys are, getting more fancy with the puck and picking it up behind the net and, doing the lacrosse move and stuff like that. I think, when you're defending, it's kind of always in the back of your mind, but it's definitely not at the forefront of it. I mean, you just kind of play your game and defend how you know how to. And, if something happens, it happens, and you kind of just got to shrug it off. And, the next shift you maybe run into a guy and hit a guy and, get back to your game and the way you can play it and kind of just forget about it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you try to learn from it, but you do not want to make yourself crazy, like overthinking everything.
Yeah, definitely learn from the experience, and hopefully it never happens again.
Yeah.
Okay, and just one question back to Canada. What do you miss most about Canada here, and what things you like and dislike about living here? I mean,
that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I
mean, you're familiar with the foods you mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely miss seeing my family. Like I said, I didn't go home this past summer because of the COVID restrictions back home are, kind of crazy. And I would have to stay in a hotel for a couple of days and pay X amount of money and stuff like that. So I just decided to stay here and enjoy the summer here. But, in return, I wasn't able to see my family and they weren't able to come visit. So definitely miss them and, miss my brothers and the rest of my family. And I definitely don't miss the amount of snow we get back home, that's for sure. But I think overall, apart from the language barrier, Hungary, Budapest feels like a second home to me. I've made it a home, and I'm really comfortable here. I mean, apart from everyday stuff, I've recently had to deal with some phone problems, and trying to talk to them about my phone problems over the phone is kind of a hassle. And maybe getting a plumber to fix the toilet or to fix the washing machine is a little bit of a problem. But other than that, and normal things like that, it's not much different, I'd say. Just I try and just take day by day and appreciate the culture here and kind of, assimilate to what you guys are used to, and just like you guys would assimilate to what Canadians do, back home, right? So, that's basically it. I mean, it's not too much of a hassle to live here. I love living here, so yeah, it's great.
But I have to admit, I'm missing snow. As a child,
you're missing the snow.
As a child, I remember many snowy days, like snowmans and sliding.
Yeah.
And now we have like one snowy day a year, and that's it, and it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a kid, it's definitely a lot better when there's a lot of snow and school gets canceled the next day. But now as an adult, you get outside and your feet are all wet and you're trying to go to work, and it's not so much of a nice thing anymore. But I don't know. Some guys love the snow. I'm just not a fan of it, really, to be honest.
Bence, you have any question
Yeah.
on the list?
Can you give us some insight about your transfer to Debrecen? Because we were really surprised, but we were even happier when you signed back to Újpest.
Yeah, I mean, coming from college to pro, it was a little bit of a jump for me. Just getting used to the season and the speed, and like I said before, the speed, the smarts of the game, and I kind of used my first year in Újpest as a learning curve for sure. And there was as a player, you always want to get better, right? So I found an opportunity in Debrecen where I was going to get a lot of ice time, and really develop my game to the potential I knew I could play at. And so I took that opportunity, and I think it worked out for the best. I was able to have a lot of ice time there and get confident, and then come back to Újpest last year and really kind of show what I had and show Újpest what they could have had the previous year, right? So I mean, it was kind of decisions on both part after the first year for me to leave. So definitely no hard feelings, and I think it worked out for the best. So I'm definitely happy to be back here for sure.
Yeah, we thought about maybe you were studying there because we know like there's some background option for studying with the Debrecen club, but since you came back just after a year, I guess that wasn't the case.
Yeah, no, it was strictly for for me to have playing time and develop my game and really kind of transform into the player I want to be and continue to be. And every day is a learning curve, and I try to get better every day. So.
But if we are incorrect, you also play next year for Újpest because you have a 2-year contract, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
This past summer, I was happy to sign that 2-year contract, and I thank the management for having the trust in me for sure for that.
Yeah, because that's quite unusual. It just started to become popular last 1-2 years, because usually it's like 1-year contract, and it's such a problematic period for a fan. Every summer it's like a thrill. Oh, come on, is he staying or not? Oh, shit, he's going to the other club. I cannot believe, and then going on like this, and 2-year contracts is such a nice thing to know, because then we can pretty much expect, okay, next year we will have these players for sure, and I don't know which ones will be still re-signing and so on. And in other leagues, it's not so uncommon to have several-year contracts, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just like some Hungarian thing.
I mean, for me, we were able to come with a 2-year contract pretty quickly, actually. For me personally, it's I love playing in Újpest. I don't really see myself playing for another club as of right now. So, I mean, for me, it's great for stability as well. I have a place to play the next year, and I have another season to strive for after this one. I mean, not to say that I'm focusing on next year. I'm definitely focusing on this season, but there's always that in the back of my head that, I have another season that I need to prepare for. And, after this season, I have plans to go back home and, train for the next season and be comfortable coming back to Újpest. So, I mean, in other leagues, maybe not so much of the leagues closer to ours because, they sign a lot of North American guys, and the imports are on 1-year deals because, it's a pretty big risk for teams to bring players over and spend the kind of money they are on players and stuff like that. So, I mean, for local players, I'm sure the 2-3-year deals are more common in the higher leagues as well. But yeah.
Yeah, it's always a gamble because, like, for example, Coda, like we call him, is it okay? Let's make it clear. You should know. Is it Coata or Coda?
I just call him Coates, but
oh, okay.
Okay, so the third way.
I think it's Coda. I think it's Coda.
Coda, okay, because everybody's calling him Coata, and I said, okay, before doing the podcast, I want to be sure. I checked some YouTube interviews. I couldn't find with him, but I could find with his brother, and they called him Coda. Okay, so we too are calling him in the whole nation Coda. In this case, we were right, people. Okay.
Yeah, you were right.
and also Suter, and not Sutter like everybody else is saying. So. Yeah, Suter,
and I'm trying to think.
Quite challenging names in this year.
Yeah, it's in the back of my mind now. I have no idea.
And at Nayaslab we figured out, but by the time we learned his name, he is already gone. Okay, but these things happen, so it's always a gamble. For example, Coda, when he came, we discussed in a podcast, he's from the third Swedish league. I mean, okay, let's see what he can do. But it's not like, oh, come on, it's Jager or whatever. Okay, Jager with 50 is also not like, okay, I leave that. But it's not like the biggest name and league for it. And still, he's doing a really good job. So it's always a gamble. We always have to give him a chance. And I think this year it's sorted out pretty good so far.
Yeah. I mean, definitely getting imports is, like you said, always a gamble. You can't really judge a player by. I mean, it's a lot of it's based on their stats on elite prospects and stuff like that. But until they get on the ice and you see what they can do, that's really all you can comment on. Really, I mean, like you said, it's always a gamble to bring someone over, and in some cases it doesn't work out, but that's just hockey, But yeah, and we're glad so far so good. I mean, we're happy, and the guys are really good guys, and that's part of it as well. You want to bring good people into the organization, and the coaches and management have done a really good job doing that.
And I think in this year, the whole team looks like very unified, and I think most of the fans thinks that too. Also, there are many great individual performances. Like you have one of the best plus minus statistics in the league. So first of all, congratulations for this.
Thank you.
What do you think about this season's Újpest compared to the previous seasons, because it's a bit different team structure this year?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the management and coaches have done a really good job of bringing in players who know what they need to do on the ice, know their roles within the team. And I think it's hats off to all the guys coming in as well, that they know what to do, and they bought into the system that the coaches have instilled in us. And so far it's working out, and we have a lot of fun in the room, and everyone's friends with everyone, and everyone's getting along, and everyone enjoys each other's company. And I think that's also what makes a great team. You have to get along with each other off the ice as well. So it's been great. I mean, compared to past seasons, I mean, last year we had the same thing. We had a lot of really good guys, but I think this year we seem a lot more, like I said, everyone knows their role, and everyone's playing together as a team rather than a few individuals. And it's been working out for us for sure. And I think if we keep going this way, then we can do something special. And I know everyone on the team expects us to do something special, and that's what we're working for. So it's a long season. I mean, we'll see what happens, really.
Yeah, it's a long season, but it looks quite good until now, because if we ordered the table by the lost points, we are at the top of the table. So it's very great. We didn't expect it that, to be honest.
Especially with this schedule, like we had in September. In the podcast, we were like really worried. Maybe, I mean, don't take it personally, but in September we thought, okay, maybe, I don't know, a couple of points would be realistic, because we didn't really know what the new players can do. And we thought the team is a bit weaker compared to last year, which by individual strength, I think it's still okay to say, because I mean, Bodo and the rest of the guys were like huge factors last year. But this year, the like everyone is saying, the locker room atmosphere is absolutely proving to be more important than individual quality. And we do not have big goal difference games. Okay, we had a couple last week, but usually like it's 1-2 goals more than the opposite, and it's enough. Okay, we have to use as many lines as possible, not like previous years, always like the first two and maybe the third, and the fourth one is getting spider webs, and it's a more really like a team effort, and it's like experience for us, for the fans, because we didn't really see any strategy like this in the last decade, I believe, but it's working out, and we guys are we are really surprised how good it's going and how big of a team we see on the ice, and it's really like. Not with mentioning names, I think that particular person wasn't even, I think he played here when you were in Debrecen. For example, he was like locker room poison, but he was a really good player. I can send his name in private if you wish. But this year, it doesn't seem like this, and it's really refreshing, and it's such a good atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, it's like every year. You lose some pieces and you gain some pieces, and I think this year we gained quite a few good pieces, and like you said, the locker room atmosphere is really good, and you know, everyone's getting along, and everyone has the team first mentality, and whatever it takes for the team to, you know, get 3 points every night, and you know, everyone's bought into that, and all lines are playing extremely well, and it's not necessarily a 1, 2, 3, 4 line. It's, you know, everyone together as a unit, right? So we need everyone every night to perform the best, and everyone's doing that so far. And like I said, hopefully it keeps on going, because we're going to need it down the stretch coming December when we go back to Romania coming up. So
yeah, that would be a tough series in 13 games in 26 days. So
yeah,
it's like a playoff.
Yeah, I mean, every Romanian trip, I think, is extremely challenging. And you know, like you said at the beginning of the season, you know, fans didn't expect us to come home with more than a few points, but. You know, just like I said, everyone on the team was working hard, and, you know, we got things done. And I think that's going to be the mentality, you know, keep going the rest of the season with that mentality, and everyone does their job right, and then good things are going to happen.
But at least now the Romanian games would be a bit easier, because the audience is locked out.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
At least
we
that
don't
factor.
have everyone yelling at us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough either way. So we're, you know, the rest of, I mean, day by day, just focus day by day and game by game, and when that time comes, we'll be addressing that for sure.
Yeah, but that trip in September to Romania, it was very tough, because on the way back to home, the bus is broken.
Yeah. Oh my God.
As well. So you've traveled 14 hours or something like that.
Yeah, I think we left Gheorghe And then 4 hours later, the bus broke down on the side of the road. So we had to wait another 4 hours for another bus to come while we were sitting on the side of the road, and then, unpack all the equipment and all the luggage and everything and transfer buses, and then finally travel back. I think I got home around 2 p.m. the next day when it should have been at like 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was definitely a tough one.
Imagine that in I don't know, January, when it's like minus 15 or
it would have been terrible. But you know what? At least we came home with those points, which made it a little bit easier. So yeah.
But after that, I think the Miskolc game, I think that followed. There, the team seemed a bit more tired. I guess that's also the reason that you did not have time to regenerate.
I'm sure the tiredness came into play, but we can't start making excuses about our play. I think it just wasn't our night, and it happens. It's hockey, right? So
it's a long season, so yeah. And how did you experience the pandemic season as a player last year? Because there were no audience, and
it was tough. Definitely without an audience, hockey's a lot more fun when people are watching you. That's for sure. But it was a little bit nerve wracking. I mean, it was kind of a day by day thing, really, right? You didn't know if one day someone was gonna, message the group saying they were sick, or practice was canceled, or games were canceled, or things like that. So, and then that comes into factor, is the season gonna proceed or not? And, that means we're out of a job and stuff like that. So, it was definitely an uneasy, working experience, you could say, I guess. But, it was just, like I said, day by day. It was a different situation every day, but I'm just glad we were able to complete the season and, stay here and play hockey, right? So,
And how is it different this season? Because, the pandemic is still not gone. So far, as far as we know, only one team is hit by it. It's Brașov. And is there anything, as far as we know, the masks are mandatory again, at least in Újpest, for the audience.
Yes.
And is there any, apart from the vaccination, are there any standards for keeping out this COVID outbreak again within the team? Because as we could see at the Brașov games, for example, if a team cannot compete, the opposite team is getting the points automatically. Or do you know anything about this? Was there some kind of deal?
Yeah, I guess I'm not too sure many of the details, but I guess that just happened because they don't want, to cancel the season, really. But in the case in Újpest, we just started wearing masks around the rink again. So that's something new that we're doing now. It's definitely all to prevent, from our season getting canceled, really, and us being not able to play. And I think it's smart. Whatever it takes to, keep our season alive and keep going, we're all willing to do, because we just want to play hockey at the end of the day.
Yeah. At least we had the streams last year. That was a big help for us, that we could see. But going there again and just see the games in person is such an entertaining thing for us, because it's like really old hobby of mine, and I guess also for Bence. And it really last year was such a big, I don't know, such a bad year for many reasons. And for example, I have like 2 hobbies: going to the cinema and going to hockey. Both were dead.
Both shut down, yeah.
And basically, yeah, I could only watch through streams and whatever. And I mean, it's such a valuable thing to have it again, even with masks. I don't care. I will go with masks just to see hockey.
I mean, for us, it's we love it. I mean, we love having you guys there. It's one of the main, drives that makes us want to play. Like, you guys are great to us, and every night we want to put a win out on the table for you guys. So yeah, it's really, really good to have fans back in the rink. It's nothing like having fans in the rink, other than we don't like an empty rink, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, last year that win against Ferencváros in the Tiszkecsarnok, away, that was quite strange because the team played very well, and we haven't won in away since, I don't know, years.
Yeah. I remember
years.
that game. Yeah.
So and living that. The dream from my living room. It was
I know, it's too bad.
Kind of strange.
We'll just have to do it again this year.
Oh, please, yeah.
Yeah, okay, we will play against Ferencváros 3 times, and 2 in the cup and 1 in the league. So
coming up.
Yeah. Okay, I have one more question relating to the hockey. Why have you chosen number 12?
You know what? Back in minor hockey, I was actually number 12. Growing up, that was my number. From the time I put on skates to, I think, junior hockey. And then junior hockey, I changed my number. 22 was actually my number in college. But coming to Újpest, Chevy already has that number. So I wasn't able to do that. But then, 12 was close enough, and it's a number I've had in the past. So, that's kind of the backstory behind that one.
And I mean, every hockey player gets this question, but I will need to ask: is there any superstitious thing that you do, like, I don't know, going to the rink with your left skate, or?
Yeah. I mean, maybe not too strict, but I do eat the same meal before games, same nap time, and then at the rink I do the same warm-up every game, stretching wise, and on the ice as well. I try to get the timing right and stuff like that, and then all for the equipment I just put on the right side of my body first. So the right skate, the right shin pad, the right elbow pad, and stuff like that. But yeah.
Okay, it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
And you eat the same thing after games? I mean, chocolate.
Yeah. I definitely have a chocolate after the game for sure.
The team eats all of them.
I mean, we have little cubbies under our stalls in our dressing room. So, try and snag a few chocolates on the ice after the game and put them under there for a rainy day.
Were you first surprised by this Hungarian hockey tradition? Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I was. I mean, I know some of the guys this year when they came over, they're like, what the hell what are they doing? Why are they throwing these at us? But I think it's awesome. We love it. Yeah.
I don't even know where it started. Maybe in Dunaújváros, if I'm not mistaken. It's just happened sometimes, like decades ago. And
oh yeah, no, it's good. We enjoy it for sure. So yeah.
And I also have a question, like, what is like an ordinary day for you on the weekend when there is like no game or, I don't know, practice, and what do you do in your free time?
I mean, last year there wasn't much to do because of COVID, but this year it's been a little bit better. Usually, I mean, if we have no practice or no skate or workout or anything like that. I mean, just relax, have a good meal in the morning, and if it's nice out, I try and spend my day outside, walking around the city or by the river, getting a pastry at a cafe or something, kind of just enjoying outside. And if we have 2 days off, maybe meeting up with some of the guys and doing the same and enjoying the city and kind of just being outside and not being wasting away in the apartment and wasting time. Because there's a lot of time to do that after practice when you're tired, sitting on the couch and stuff like that. But when you have the time to be outside, it's a beautiful city, right? So, and there's a lot of things to see. So I try and do as much as possible with my girlfriend as well. So, yeah.
Oh, so she's here also with you?
Yeah. She's in the other room actually. She did school here, so she just did her master's, and she's actually Swedish. So, yeah, she's been here for 5 years, longer than I have.
Oh, nice.
Oh, so you met her here in Hungary?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of gossip topics here in the Hockey Podcast.
Yeah. Spilling the beans.
Yeah, it's so you're not that type of guy who's doing PlayStation or
No, I don't think I've touched a PlayStation since college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm more of a movie guy.
Okay.
Finding the new movies and stuff like that.
Okay,
more so.
As someone who is doing a movie podcast also for almost 11 years, favorite movies?
Favorite movies? That's such a tough one because I've seen them all. I'm not honestly though. I'm not a big fan of the old movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of a new type of movie guy.
I can maybe why you are thinking I don't know, maybe more like a decade ago at the Újpest Hockey homepage there was like some questionnaire with the players, and also there was this question like favorite movie, and I swear like almost everybody was saying oh shit, I don't know the English title.
Is it like a hockey movie or something?
No, it's every given Sunday with Al Pacino.
That's a good one.
With the favorite
football.
speech.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like horror movies, and I also like sci-fi space kind of movies like Interstellar and movies like that, futuristic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are kind of ones, and action. I mean, that's pretty good too. But
and like, what kind of horror movies? Like the old school, like Nightmare, or like the I don't know,
like the new school, like supernatural stuff, like the Insidious type movie. Or,
okay.
Yeah, kind of like that.
You should watch the Woman in Black. I don't know if you.
Yeah. I've seen that. It's one of my favorites, actually. I was going to mention that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good one.
The second part, not so much, but the first one is.
The one with Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah. That one is pretty good. Or Sinister.
Yeah, those are another one of my favorites.
I'm not too scary type in regards of horrors, but Sinister watching in the movie theater was like
it's a freaky one, yeah.
I just wanted the movie to end. I just wanted to get out of there.
I enjoy those kind of movies. I used to not actually. I was a pretty big baby, but I think I watched enough of them that my scare got out of me, so I enjoy those types.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Bence?
I have only one question, but it's for the end. So if you have any more questions, just
I think I'm done with the list, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm too. So I will ask the last question. We will have a little break now in the season. International break. But after that, there will be a tough series for you guys. Any message to the fans in general? Yeah,
I mean, I think it goes without saying that you guys the support you guys show, whether it be at the games or, on Facebook or stuff, we see it all, right? So it's really encouraging that you guys are so passionate about the team, and you want us to win and succeed. And, no matter if we lose too, you guys are behind us, and, you guys believe in us. So we see it all, and we really appreciate your guys' support. And it's a big part in what drives us to want to be successful. And, hopefully we can do that for you guys, and, make you guys proud and make Újpest proud. That's for sure. And hopefully, no matter what happens at the end of the year, you guys, we gave it our all for you guys, and, hopefully you guys see that and recognize it. And we really appreciate all your support.
Yeah, thank you very much. We see that, and we wish you all the best. I mean, we are not the biggest audience, like also even in this nation, but we really care. And at least Bence and I, we are not the type of guys, even if play is not so good. Like, for example, the game this year against Ferencváros, I think that was not your best one as a team.
For sure.
But I mean, it's a game. The next one comes, and it's not too big of an issue. And we even discussed in the first episodes, like, it would be, we as a fans never experienced as a Újpest hockey fan any cup of any kind.
Yeah.
And even if you would win something, it would be so surreal, because it was something something which we will never get, like, I don't know if you understand, like unreachable. And we won't even know what to do in this kind of situation, but we would like to experience it.
I mean, we would love to experience that as well, and share it with you guys. So hopefully it's something we can do for you guys.
Yeah, so thank you very much again, Phil, for not only playing Újpest so passionately, and even for several years and seasons, and also coming to this podcast, especially even if you don't speak the language, and it's our
I gotta
pleasure.
work on that.
Yeah, it's all right. It's you already started your answer with Sia, so that's
exactly.
That's okay to start.
At least I know how to say that. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you again, Phil, for taking part in this podcast. I think we got some quite new informations about you, because there wasn't really much to find. I even searched for the very first news that you got transferred. And I don't know if you know the Hungarian hockey site Jégkorong. That's like the Bible of everybody who is loving this game. And I searched for the very, very first entry with your name, and it basically said, he's having the Hungarian nationality, and that's it. He's coming from this league. And okay, I didn't get too much information from that.
Yeah, not much hype, eh?
now, I think we are pretty informed. So thank you very much for opening up.
Thank you guys for having me. It's really nice that you guys invited me here, and I was able to come on and speak for you guys, for sure.
And your favorite chocolate to end, so everybody who's listening can throw you something.
Yeah, it's the Kit Kat you throw in there. Yeah.
Oh, it's the Kit. Okay.
Kit Kat.
I have plenty of those.
Yeah.
I have some with peanut butter, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I remember I eat them all the time now, because I keep throwing them on the ice.
Okay, good to know. Okay, so everybody, let's have some Kit Kat rain for Phil. And thank you very much, Phil, once again for coming.
Thank you again. I really appreciate it having me here.
I hope you enjoyed. And Bence, anything left to say apart from
nothing? Thanks again, Phil, for joining this podcast, and good luck for the rest of the games.
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, your guys' English is perfect, so don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Oh, thank you very much. Next time a Hungarian player comes as a guest, we will speak English once again.
Yeah,
That's the locker room language.
Next time I'll learn Hungarian so you guys can speak Hungarian.
Okay, we will keep your word. Next season, at the end of next season.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
Okay, thank you once again, Phil.
All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.